But then once you get to college, the talent from top to bottom is just like, it's pretty much all the same. Like the talent does not differ a whole lot. It just ends up being who's more fit and who's faster, like decision-making speed, like not necessarily like physically faster, but who can think the fastest. Those are the two things that I've noticed are the biggest like differences between club and college.
Welcome to Game Changers, Athlete Edition. I'm Kortney Harmon, a former Division I softball pitcher turned high-performance business coach who knows what it takes to translate athletic mindset into real-world success.
And I'm Julie Jones, a Hall of Famer and former Division I head coach with more than 20 years of experience turned mental performance coach. Together, we bridge the gap between elite athletics and lifelong achievement, helping you unlock your full potential on and off the field. This podcast is your go-to source for inspiration, motivation, amazing guests, and actionable insights to help you elevate your game.
Hey guys, we are back today for the Game Changers podcast, Athlete Edition, and we're deep diving into the realities of freshman year with Michigan soccer player Josie Owen-Kren. We're going to explore the gap between expectations and reality, the mental wake-up calls that are shaping young athletes today, how mental health maybe plays a role, from preparation strategies to managing a new life. And this conversation is going to equip you with insights to navigate your own athletic journey if you're going into your freshman year. So Josie, thank you so much for chatting with Julie and I today. Thank you for taking time out of your busy day.
Thank you for having me.
I love it.
This is exciting for me because I know Josie well. I was fortunate to start working with her when she played for the International Soccer Club. And you've heard that name before with Katie Scott, our guest a few episodes ago. But then Josie and I have taken it to the next level as well. And as she was working through her career, her freshman year, I should say, at Michigan, we started working together almost on a weekly basis as she went through. And we'll talk a little bit about that. But Jose, we have you here because everyone who plays college sports is going to go through similar experiences of being the new guy or girl. Mm-hmm. And what we think we know about getting into college athletics might not look exactly like what we come upon when we move into the dorm and we get to our first practices, go through the training. So take us back to this time last year. And what were you thinking your freshman year was going to look like? What do you remember about sitting and thinking about going to Michigan as a Division I soccer player? Do you remember?
Yeah. So I actually do remember very well. I had actually just come off an ACL tear. So I was just about a year post-op. So I was like, the entire year that I was going through my recovery, I was thinking about going to Michigan, playing at Michigan. I was prepping to get on the field, play, contribute, what everyone wants to do when they get to college. So yeah, I was just pretty excited. There wasn't a whole lot of negatives associated with preseason, the first few months, dealing with school and soccer. There wasn't a whole lot of negatives. So I was just pretty excited to get on campus and start helping the team. Yeah, didn't really turn out the way I wanted that to, but it was a great first semester. Do love the school.
Yeah. Well, I will say this, and just to preface our conversation, Josie loves Michigan. Josie loves her coach. Josie has loved her experience, but Josie has not loved every day of her experience.
For sure.
And we're not here to talk about, the fact that, college athletics and blah, 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 blah. No, we really want to open people's eyes to the fact that you are going to come into challenges, right?
Yeah.
What was it? When did you realize that what you had planned for was different than what you stepped into? Do you remember anything specific?
Yeah, actually, this is a really, really specific, vivid memory I have. One of the first, I think the second day, maybe the first day, we were doing this possession drill. And I don't remember why I remember this so specifically, but it was like this really tight possession, and I'm like standing in the middle, and I feel like a chicken with my head cut off. Like, just absolutely like feel like I just like don't know what I'm doing. Like, I'm standing in the middle, like trying to figure out where I'm going, what I'm doing. My one coach was yelling at me like, put in a tackle, be physical, whatever. Like, and I had zero clue what I was doing. And like from that moment on, I was like, this is gonna be a lot harder than I thought it was gonna be. Because in preseason, before we were with the coaches, we were playing 7v7. Like, we were playing games, and I felt great. Like, I was like, oh, like, I got this. Like, I'll be great. Like, whatever. We get into season with the coaches. All of a sudden, everybody goes from, like, the 75% that I thought was the 100% in preseason to, like, 110 the first day. And I was like, nope, like, this is going to be a little tougher than I thought it was going to
be. Yeah. So what do you think the difference was? So you start out, you're doing captain's practices or whatever you want to call it. You're working just with the players, and then the coaches come on the scene. The same people that recruited you, they know exactly, and you're comfortable with the team probably at that point a little bit. At least you knew each other some.
Yeah.
What do you think made the difference? What made you feel like a fish out of water?
It was everybody. It's 20. We had a big team last year too. It was 30 girls, which doesn't sound too big, but like for us, our coaches like to keep it pretty small, like between 28 and 30. So 30 was a bigger roster than they had. So it was like everybody competing for the same 11 spots. Mm-hmm. Like, without the coaches there, like, you're all friends, like, you all like are just kind of chill. Like, it's not that big of a deal. The second the coaches come in, everybody's competing for the same 11 spots. So everything changes the second that happens. And it was just like, I was not expecting it. I don't know why I wasn't, but I just had not thought about that aspect of it for sure. Like, yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. So interesting. The talk about the difference in physical training or even the talent level difference between, you played on a big time club, actually 2 really good clubs, right?
Yeah.
Explain to us the difference between club, and you played for a very good high school as well, right? So
yeah.
So talk us about the difference between high school club speed and college speed.
Yeah, so I actually didn't end up playing high school. I did go to Strongsville.
That's right. That's right. I forgot.
Yeah, if anybody's from Ohio, like, they know Strongsville's kind of like an infamous soccer, like, especially girls soccer, like, community. So just even that, like, I always played with the girls, like, I always knew them. So that level to club was a big enough jump that I decided not to play high school because I wanted just to focus on club.
Yeah.
And then in club, we had my team was like, especially my my sophomore and junior year, because my senior year is when I was hurt. My sophomore and junior year, my team was like really, really good. Like, my sophomore year, we made round of 16. We only lost by 1 in the last like 20 minutes, which was a real heartbreak. And then my junior year, we were actually the number 1 ranked seed in the 18-19 Champions League, which was unfortunate because I didn't end up getting to go to that because I got hurt in our very last league game. But yeah, so like my club team was very good. It was my whole starting lineup plus I think the majority of my team, if not all of my team, was Division I commits. So like I was like, yeah, like it was pretty high level. Like, we were playing against some great teams. I remember my sophomore year, I was playing against a girl who was going to be going to UCLA that year, who was a year older than me, and a girl who was going to Oklahoma in our like round of 16 game. And I was like doing great. I was killing it. I was like, okay, like if this is the level of like some like Power 5, Power 4, like conference players commits, like I feel like I got a pretty good chance. But then once you get to college, the talent from top to bottom is just like it's pretty much all the same. Like, the talent does not differ a whole lot. It just ends up being who's more fit, which is like a huge thing that I could talk about for 20 minutes. And who's faster, like decision making speed, like not necessarily like physically faster, but who can think the fastest. Those are the 2 things that I've noticed are the biggest like differences between club and college, is the speed of play and the fitness.
You had something, Corey? Go.
No, I'm looking back. I'm trying to think of my days a long time ago. And like I'm trying to think of those athletes that are in high school today, that or in club or on a team that they're on right now. What pieces of that area helped you the most transition to college? Because like it's like, what should they hold on to, or what should they be thinking about in this transition to be like, what's going to help me best in this move?
So I think the biggest thing that I actually didn't do for myself that I would have loved to look back on to make my experience better was actually giving myself a lot more grace. Like understanding that this transition is a huge transition. Your life, your social circle, where you're living, like how far you are from your family, everything is different. So when you actually translate it from like soccer, like over, it actually does not stay the same just because you have so much else going on that your soccer dips a little bit, in my opinion. And everything, because you have so much going on, everything changes. So I think the biggest thing that I would probably say is just like giving myself grace and understanding that like it's not going to be perfect. It's going to suck a lot, but like just kind of like getting through that, because by second semester you're comfortable, you kind of are with the team, whatever. But like I think that first semester, the huge thing would be just like understanding it all and giving yourself grace.
Well, in all of those pieces, as the life of a student athlete, I think what was the thing that caught you most by surprise?
I'm trying to think. Because I feel like academically, personally, like I'm a pretty good student, so I didn't have much of a difference there. I think it was the level switch from like in soccer, because again, I played at a club. We were a high level club, high level athletes, D1 athletes. Like I was just not expecting it to be as big of a jump as it was, coming from a club who produced a lot of Power 4, Power 5 players, especially in my age groups.
So when you think about it, Josie, so this big jump, if you had to go back, aside from giving yourself grace, if you had to go back to the summer before or the year before in your senior year, is there anything you would have done differently to try to help you prepare for that jump? Are there any, like, were there any habits you would change? I mean, I know you had an injury in there, which made it a little bit more difficult.
Yeah.
But, like for whoever's healthy, are there any tidbits that you can say, hey, as a high school kid, as a club player, you need to do X, Y, and Z before you make the jump? Is there anything? I don't know that there is. But...
I think personally, I'm one who's like there are girls on my team who are like huge fitness like freaks. Like they love running. They'll run 5 miles easy at like an 8-minute, 7-minute mile, like just easy. I think for me, it would be getting into running a lot sooner and starting to enjoy, like trying to enjoy the like really uncomfortable hard workouts. Because now I'm at a point where like I like went and ran the beat test this morning. I was like, you know what? Like I was great. Like I felt like whatever. Like this summer especially, I've started to really like get into that and like kind of just enjoy doing it. Like looking forward to the fall, just knowing that that's kind of what like needs to be done. But I think for a lot of kids, especially the ones who don't enjoy doing fitness, like I was and still don't really, but like, I think it would be that just get into running. Try to enjoy it. Do what you can enjoy, like especially when you're younger, like when you're a sophomore, junior in high school, where it's not that big of a deal yet. Like I would say definitely find ways that you enjoy it, so that when you get to college and you have to do it, it's not as much of a burden and it's not as much of a stress when you get there. I don't know if that makes sense, but
it does. And I can tell you, Julie made us run a timed mile. And whenever I was a freshman, I was like, whatever, I can go run a mile. And then little did she tell you, whenever you ran your time mile, you had to run the next one faster. And it was like a reality check, knocked me on my butt. Because I do not like to run. She liked to run and she ran with us and she was very encouraging. But I can totally look back on even my career to be like, wow, if I would have just done that sooner, because that freshman year knocked me on my butt and made me reality check. I love that piece of advice because it's stuff that you're not thinking about at that level.
Mm-hmm. yeah.
And I think I mean, I can think back to my college career, and I remember we'll say I like to run, I guess, if as much as anybody likes to run. But I remember working out prior, and still the workouts being way harder than me thinking I was pushing myself. And I think as high school athletes in particular, we think we're pushing, but there's a whole nother level of push when you get to the next level. So, finding somebody to teach you really how to push. I feel sometimes that people train with a trainer or whoever it is, and they allow you to stay in your comfort zone.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's no comfort zone care in college. They don't care if you're in your comfort zone. It's all about being fit so that you don't get hurt, right? And being fit so you can push to the next level. I think that would not have been the thing I would have thought that you would have said. I mean, I don't know what I thought you were going to say, but that's a great answer, a really great answer. Because no matter what sport you play, you're going to be working way harder than you work as a high school athlete. Yeah. I remember my dad coached track at Revere High School, which is here in the greater Akron area. And he had kids that threw for, Team USA, and he had kids that competed at Division I all over the place and have some professional runners. And the one thing that he told me was that, as I was thinking about, I was talking about recruiting and when the kids got to campus and how different it was for them. He said, Jewel, there is nothing we can do as high school coaches to truly prepare them for the jump. No matter if they're going Division I, II, or III, it's still different. But as you say, if you learn to push and get uncomfortable, it's going to be a little bit easier.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what I think I would have done better. Because I remember my dad always said it. Because my dad was in the Marines. He always talks about how he got his 3 mile from I think it was 22 to 19 minutes in a month or a month and a half or something. I don't know. And he always talks about how much he hated running and would just run every day on the sand and the beach, whatever. And he's always telling me about that. And I'm in high school, I was like, I don't care. That's not the same thing. Whatever. Yeah. And now I'm sitting here, I'm I hate to say it, but yeah, very right.
Yeah, very right. Exactly. What struggles did you run into? What was the hardest part for you as you look back at your freshman year? What was the hardest part, or what were a few hard parts of it?
I think for me, it was one, the realization that I was going to end up being redshirted. There's an exhibition game against Pitt, and it was our very first exhibition game, our coach does it where you get your minutes based on your beep score. So the first game, I had just gotten a 16-1, which was the very, very minimum. So I only got 15 minutes in the first exhibition game. The second one, it was play to win. Doesn't matter, as long as you pass, you play. So I was looking forward to the second game because I was yes, I get to play, whatever, it'll be great. I think I played 10 minutes, maybe. And so it was that bus ride home realizing, all right, I probably am not going to play a whole lot. Because I went in with this other girl who, everybody on the team kind of just knew, wasn't really into it, was kind of just there to have fun. And so, me and her were warming up on the side, and I was I don't want to be, I honestly don't want to really be grouped with her because, she's kind of that person that just, doesn't really care that much. And so I was just oh, God. So it was that realization. And then what was the other thing I was going to say? I kind of forget what else I was going to say. But I think that was, I remember. That one was the hardest realization. And then the other thing for me was socially trying to find my spot, which is also something that's not really talked about. Because a lot of girls, they get in there and they click with everybody right away. They find their best friends, whatever. A lot of my really good friends from internationals, they found their group really quickly. They have their friends. They have their good friends. Me, I didn't really click with anybody super quickly. So the first semester was really hard for me because I just didn't really have anyone in school who knew what I was going through. There wasn't anybody who knew what I was going through because nobody else in my class was redshirted. Everybody else got minutes, got to play, whatever. That one was also tough.
It's interesting you say that. There's a book called The Happiness Advantage written by an author named Sean Acorn. It's a really good book for athletes to read. And he's from Harvard, and he's on Harvard's campus. And they did a study for the people who did the best at Harvard. And it had nothing to do with their ACT scores or their SAT scores or their intellect. It had everything to do with their social connection. The people that were more socially connected were more successful at Harvard than the people who were really, really smart. And it goes for athletes too. And we assume that as we go in, we're going to have a team and it's going to be, well, that's not the case for everyone, particularly when, it doesn't go as you planned, because we have a tendency to withdraw, right? We have a tendency to withdraw a little bit.
Yeah.
We're not confident in ourselves. So we're not like throwing ourselves out there, but that social connection is so important. Would you do anything different looking at that now? As you think about building social connection, would you have what would it look like if you could redo that part?
Yeah, I think what you said was completely right. I think I, as a person, self-isolated for sure. Like, I didn't really put myself out there. Like, I had friends who like were juniors on the team who were like kind of reaching out to me and kind of saw like I was a little like isolated, but yeah, I think the main thing would be put myself out there, kind of make myself a little bit more available, especially like to my class, because second semester I got along with everybody great. Like, everything kind of like I vibed with everybody. Like, I enjoyed myself a lot more second semester, but first semester it was just like I wish I had kind of just like made myself like go out, like, and like not go out, but like go and like talk to people and like put myself out there, because I definitely did not do that. And even when I'm like home, I'm not a very like outgoing extrovert, like love being around people, whatever. Like, I love my alone time, but I wish I'd kind of just push myself a little bit more to like try and like be with people and like actually make a little bit more friends.
Yeah, well, it ended up turning out great for you. I know, because obviously I've sort of gone through the experience with you from the outside, but it's just interesting that I think a lot of people get into your position and then they go home on the weekends and they don't make those connections, and then it's a really hard struggle when you're not playing well or you're not getting the time and you don't feel connected. It's really easy to say, "What am I doing?"
Yeah,
and get down on yourself a little bit more.
Josie, you talked about redshirting. I didn't redshirt as a freshman. I unfortunately redshirted as a senior. So I know our experience was different, but looking back on that, like, what helped you? Of course, like you said, self-isolation, but like, what helped you? Like, who helped you the most when you hit the wall? Was it mental? Was it physical? Was it emotional? Like, talk to me through, because that's a rough patch. Like, you're like, I had this vision, I had this plan, and I was going to be student teaching and doing all these things. I was going to be done. And Julie's like, guess what? You're injured. Come back again. And I was like, what the heck? And it's not how you it's not how you wanted it to go. So what helped you through that? Because it's a very difficult thing and a very real thing.
Yeah. One, actually, I think for me, talking to Julie was actually one of the things that definitely helped me a lot. And then another thing was my coach. I love her. Absolutely love my coach. She tended to do this thing where, like, because I wasn't injured, so, like, I could play. I was healthy. She tended to do this thing where she wouldn't really tell you if you were redshirted. So she would kind of just, like, not play you. And then you're far in the season, you're like, I guess I'm redshirting. So this one junior, yeah, exactly, who was redshirted as a freshman, she had told me, she was like, yeah, like, we were far in the season. It was like one of our last non-conference games, like probably halfway through the season. She was like, and it was 6-0. She was like, we were winning 6-0 at Boston. Everybody went in except for me. She's like, and that's when I found out I was redshirting. Like, on the sidelines, just like, why am I not going in? She was like, so I would recommend you talk to her. Like, have a sit down, like, find out what's going on so you can focus on yourself. That was probably one of the best things anybody told me. Because I texted my coach then, because I didn't travel to 2 of the away trips. Like, the first couple, they travel everyone. And then the last, like, few non-conference into conference, we only traveled 21, I think, or 22, something like that. And so I didn't travel. So then I texted my coach, and I was like, hey, like, can I sit down and have a conversation with you, whatever? And I sat down, I was like, I just need to know if I'm redshirting or not, because we had talked about a few weeks prior, like when they had like freshman check-ins, we had talked a few weeks prior, and she was like, yeah, like we're going to see if you're going to redshirt, whatever. Like, I'm not 100% sure yet. I want to see if you grow into it, if we can use you, whatever. So I kind of sat down with her and I was like, hey, like for me mentally, like I would really like to know if I'm going to redshirt or not, so I can focus on myself. I don't have to stress. Like I can just like, I can just kind of like focus on myself these next few months, because then I know like I'm not going to be like playing. I'm not going to be whatever. Like I can focus on myself. I can be a good teammate. Like I can be amazing on the sidelines and not focusing on myself. Because then after that on the sidelines, I'm like the biggest cheerleader. Like I'm just like whatever. So I was like, okay, like if that's what I'm going to do this season, that's my role this season, I want to know so I can do it. And I kind of sat down with her and she was like, yeah, I think we're going to redshirt you. She's like, I don't want to waste your eligibility, which I actually really appreciated, because I do know a lot of friends who had horror stories of like, I played like 5 minutes and that was my season. Like, just got absolutely wasted. So I did appreciate that. But yeah, one of the best things I was told was just have a sit down conversation with her and find out now. So you're not farther into the season just wondering like what's going on.
And I can say that's great advice. Julie cannot attest to this because she was the scary person that we had to go talk to. And in reality, she wasn't scary, but that freshman year, it's intimidating. And I know it sounds simple, and Julie and I both have young kids now, but I'm teaching my 10-year-old or my 11-year-old. He's like, well, I don't know what. I'm like, go talk to the coach. Go say, what do I need to do this? Because I think it's the hardest thing to internalize or have parents talking or give other people giving an insight, when in reality, us as humans just need to sit down with the person to understand and have the conversation. Julie, what did you tell me before this call? You said you're as a freshman, you can't get them in your office. As a sophomore,
can't get them out, right? Because it's that comfort level. Like I used to tell all the kids, as a freshman, you're going to need me more than you will ever come and ask, because you don't know me as well, even though we build a relationship in recruiting. But it's different when you're, when you're not getting what you want, Joes, regardless of whether or not you like me or not, as your coach, you are going to be you're going to be more hesitant to come and talk to me. Because I'm withholding something that you want. And and that gap sort of widens up a little bit and we stop communicating. That's when we really need to be having the conversations. As soon as we feel that tinge of uncomfortableness, that's really when we need to say, hey, and you may not get the answer you want. Like she wasn't going to say, hey, Josie, Jen's not going to say, you're starting tomorrow. You knew that, right? But just, having that conversation. I think the brilliance of what you said was you knew your role, and then you were really able to play your role. You became less, sort of ego centered and more centered on, the team and what you could do for the team. And that, that's it made it easier to sit the bench, quite honestly. Right.
Yeah. Like, because I'm not sitting on the bench going every time, because that coach does that thing where they kind of like walk by, like looking at everybody. Like she looks at me and I'm like, I don't care. Like I know I'm going in, so I'm just like, hey, how you doing? Like, how's it going? Like, whatever. Like, and I did have teammates who I did feel bad for because they didn't know every game if they were going in or not. And like, so every time she walked by, they're like sitting there stressing, like, am I going in? Am I not? And I could just sit there and just like play my role, which I actually did kind of appreciate that I knew early enough so I could do that. And it ended up working out for me too, because there was only 2 trips where I didn't get to travel because I was redshirted. So I actually got to travel everywhere. I got to go to Oregon, Washington. Like I got to be with the team. I got to do everything pretty much, but I didn't get the 6-hour car ride to Penn State, which was fine with me. So, I mean, it worked out. Once I knew what was happening and what I was doing and where my place was, it was a lot easier for me.
And I think that's a lesson right there. I think that, uncertainty is the thing that we hate the most. The problem is that you don't control the information that you get. So sometimes you have to be you have to go seeking that information, and seeking information from your teammates and asking why you're not playing or talking to your parents about it doesn't answer the question. Yeah. There's only one person who can answer the question, and that's the coach. And that's the last person that people ask. And I'm coming from my coach's perspective now, right?
Yeah.
I'm the last person that you come and talk to. You've talked to everybody else and they told you what they think. Well, what they think is irrelevant. What I think and see and what we decide as a staff is what's relevant. So those conversations are vital. And as a freshman, the more you can communicate with your coaching staff, more information you're going to have.
Yeah.
It's going to make you feel more comfortable, even if you're not getting what you want.
Yeah. 100%.
Right?
Thanks so much for joining us on Game Changers Athlete Edition. Remember, champions aren't born. They're built through dedication, perseverance, and the right mindset. If you found value in today's episode, share it with a teammate, with a coach, or someone who could benefit from this conversation. Don't forget to subscribe wherever you get your podcast and follow us on social media for exclusive content and daily motivation. Until next time, keep pushing your limits and stay focused on becoming the game changer you're meant to be.